All right, good morning. We are live post-CPI, taking a look at NQ here. So main focus ahead of CPI was the reaction to that 400 area, that 400 level of interest. Now, one of the challenges with the current setup is the fact that price, when we zoom out, we're near the upper portion of that intermediate term range. So you have pretty much a sideways range for the intermediate term, meaning the past few weeks here, right? Just trading sideways. Now price is getting up into the upper portion of that range, which is always going to be an area of resistance, an area of supply until that breakout actually triggers. So we are seeing a little bit of weakness there versus that intermediate term range high, those recent highs from September 26th, Thursday, September 26th. Kind of that late September action, a lot of resistance through there. So what I wanted to see this morning is whether or not buyers could initially defend 400. You'll see the highs through there, the significance of 400 right through there. Now, so far they've been unable to do that, right? What we have this morning is essentially a quick blip there into prior day high. And now price, let's make sure you can see this. Price is retracing or has retraced 61% of yesterday's move already. Holds that 330 level of interest, and now it's just kind of caught in the middle of the prior day's range. So location is not the best here. I prefer to see some action either versus 330 or versus that 400. So that's going to be my focus this morning. Whichever one of those trades first, to be looking at the reaction versus that zone. We do know 330 is a key area of support that is already held. Now the issue right now is that if sellers really decide to step in near this kind of intermediate term range high, we can start to really see some of those lower levels of interest being tested, right? So that's kind of the concern this morning, just based on the location here within that intermediate term range. So I'll be paying close attention to those higher time frame charts. We want to see how that 30-minute chart is developing, how that hourly chart is developing, and whether the buying activity that we've seen in the near term can continue. So that's pretty much the early focus here. As far as economic data, we do have the big print CPI behind us, and we do have some Fed speak later today, but no 10 a.m. print or anything like that. So game plan here off of the open is to watch how price trades versus this little structure that is built out during the pre-market session, but more importantly, either the 330 level of interest or that upside 400 level of interest. On the bounce here from CPI off of 330, we can see that price retraced about 31%. So if you take a fib from your CPI high down into the CPI low there, you can see a push right into that 38% fib. So just kind of caught here now at the 360. Let's see the reaction. I don't have a big level here other than that 61% fib from yesterday's session. I want to see how this 15-minute bar right ahead of the open closes up. Then I want to see how price trades from this structure either into 400 or into 330, and then watch the reaction at 330. That's the focus. That is the focus. So let's see. We got about 2 minutes till the open here. Buyers have definitely been in control in the near term, right? Past few sessions have been dominated by buying activity, and that is also clear on the near-term structure. Past few sessions here is a series of higher lows and higher highs. That near-term structure is not broken until you start to see some action down below this area. So that would essentially be prior day low, maybe even the 200 area, 20,200. So just as far as higher lows are concerned. So a little bit of a tricky spot. A little bit of a tricky spot. Once price, like for buyers, once they can actually clear this 500, 530 area, it kind of opens up a lot more. Definitely opens up a lot more because that'll be price pushing into, at least in the near term, fresh highs, right? Not a true all-time high. It's still way up here. But this 500, 530 area is definitely going to pose some challenges. You're going to see some selling interest in that area. So no real surprise at the initial reaction this morning to CPI, especially after two pretty big expansion days higher. I want to start to expect a little bit of compression. So we'll see if we even break yesterday's range during today's sesh or not. As always, no crystal ball, right? Just outlining a few different scenarios that may be interesting, that may be worth watching for potential trade opportunities, and then seeing how intraday structure actually unfolds and what we can do with that. So we got the open here in 15 seconds. Let's see how it's looking. There's your 5 minute. Bit of a gap lower, right? However, still within the prior day's range. So just a gap within the prior day's range is what we're looking at here. Okay, NQ back into that 38% fib. Almost into that 400. You do have VWAP right there into the 400. So pretty responsive buying activity off the open here initially. Yeah, that afternoon support. Definitely, that's a better spot. At this point, though, I'd prefer to see up and through 400. That would be my preference. So we're just waiting for now. Staying patient. Staying patient here. NQ just shy of that 400 here. Let's see if we can actually give us a real test. Opening 5-minute bar closes up in less than a minute. There's your opening 5-minute bar. Buyers showing their strength. Let's see if that can show any follow through now. Still a little bit of a struggle here with that pre-market structure point and that 38% fib. Back into that session volume point of control right there near 360. and coming for the session lows here. So again, looking for that 330 or 400. I'd like to see some level of interest here. As of right now, price still in the middle of that pre-market structure here, that post-CPI structure. Looks like ES with a little bit of relative weakness there, retesting that CPI low. NQ initially holding, session volume point of control. Next 5-minute bar is an inside bar. Closed as an inside bar. Coming into the lows here. See if we actually get that test of 330 or not. That session volume point of control zone holding again. It's a good sign initially if that can continue to hold. You got that opening 15-minute bar closing up here in about 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes. Typical slow open that we have become accustomed to, definitely. Yep, patience, patience, patience. Let it build. Let the structure build. Let that easy money play develop. Till then, we just sit. Good trading is waiting. Good trading is waiting. NQ back near the highs there. So that pre-market structure, that 38% fib, kind of keeping a ceiling on price for right now. Got another potential 5-minute inside bar here. Volume really tapering down now. Five-minute just shows consecutive inside bars there following that opening 5-minute. So let's see how that resolves. Until then, it's just a waiting game. Here it is. There's the visual. There's some volume coming in. A little bit of volume hitting there. Structure hasn't changed. Oh, good to see a little more volume. "15 minutes into the sesh, we have a nice 50-point regular trading hours range here on NQ. NQ back into the lows here. Let's see if we get a real test of 330 or not. New low of day yet? Just shy of the new low. Let's see. There's your new low. So we're looking at 330, looking at that CPI low. So if this area fails, not a great look. Be looking at the 255 downside level of interest next up, which is right near that prior day low as well. See if buyers step in here or not. New lows being made there. So retesting the underside of that CPI low, that pre-market low, and right back there into the session low. So like I said, next big level is down into 255. There's some buyers stepping in. See if that pre-market low holds or not. If there's going to be like a spring type of setup, that pre-market low must hold. It's your must hold zone. So buyers looking for a push up through that 340. It's kind of lower high right through there. Decent attempt there. They grabbed my trail. I'll let them have it. We'll see how the next 5 minutes shakes up here as we get into 10 a.m. You want that, if you're looking for longs, you want that pre-market low and that 330 level of interest to be holding. It's like the trail, right to the tick again. Gotta love it. Nice push there. Nice push. Good re-entry, actually, where I trailed out. If anyone grabbed that. Nicely done. NQ back into that volume point of control here. So far, that's a pretty good spring setup. Next target here is the 383 pre-market structure point. Two days in a row trailed exactly to the tick. Or was that Tuesday? I can't remember. But that is part of the game sometimes. Look at that. Nice push. There's that 380. There's that 383. If you have any longs on still, you need to be trimming here as we get into pre-market structure high as well as VWAP. Technically, the spring should show some follow through up and through this area, but that's your primary target. That's a higher time frame spring. Keep an eye on this 15-minute bar closure. Solid trade. Nicely done, Dom. Rich, well done. NQ retesting the highs here. Took it off at 360. Nice. Nicely done. The kicker there was that massive buy bar on the 1 minute. Tells you buyers are still here, and then we know the backdrop is neutral / bullish. So again, if you read that post that I posted in the resources tab, spring setup is going to be a gem in this type of environment. Coming into 10 a.m. here, 1 minute till 10 a.m. Got a lot of pre-market resistance right in this zone, right in that 385 area. You also have VWAP right there, and then the 400 level of interest just overhead. Yeah, my initial entry there, the risk is a bit wide for me, so I start with half. Once the structure builds, I add the rest. But the unfortunate thing about this particular trade was the trail. The trail. It's part of the game, though. Part of the game. There's 10 a.m. So we want to see now. Essentially, same watch. Can buyers break up and through this 385 area? There's your retest of VWAP, retest of 385. I'm staying patient here again, wanting to see the reaction. Ideally, I want to see buyers break this area and then offer some sort of market structure based entry. Right now, what we know is that 330 is holding. It's a big level of interest. And more sellers there, right at that 385 area. NQ back into session volume point of control here. Right back into VWAP. Right back into that 385. There's all your resistance right through there. There's your new high for NASDAQ. Now we look for acceptance. Buyers continue to show their strength, right? No real surprise considering the current backdrop. In fact, that's the expectation, is for buyers to continue to show strength until proven otherwise, until that structure actually shifts. Now into the 400 level of interest. And then above that, you've got your volume point of control as just kind of a reference point right there into the 412 area. And then the gap fill up into 435. Then the prior day high. No acceptance on the break with a rejection of 400. Prime example why you don't want to be a breakout trader in the index. And back into volume point of control there for the sesh. So again, not a lot to do here just yet. We had that one opportunity with the spring setup near the lows. And we did see the level to level move, 330 up into 400 now. So just want to see how this intraday structure continues to build. And then based on that, is there actually a trade opportunity or not? Oh, my bad. Thanks, Tom. Yeah, I was saying still just the one trade for me. That had the potential to be the one and done type of trade, but again, the trail there. Trail was a bit tight. Should have been below the 330. I was just looking at it a minute ago. It was right at 330. So I typically like to put it just beneath my level if I don't have any structure to work with yet. In this case, one tick really does make all the difference. A lot of signal bars, but minimal entries. Yeah, a signal bar without like an actual structure, without good location is pretty much useless information. Like, it's just noise. So location comes first, and then backdrop, like the context. Here's an NQ with fresh highs. And then from there you get into the actual signal bar. That's how you find the entry. NQ, new high of day there, up and through the 400. Buyers continue to show their strength, right? $15 and 30-minute chart showing good follow through. So we'll see if an entry is actually presented or not. So far, posted game plans working nicely with the current market backdrop, which is that neutral bullish backdrop. There's your prior day volume point of control for NASDAQ. Looks like ES is into fresh highs as well. And back into 400. Just about 45 minutes into the sesh here. Buyers are looking for a break of prior day volume point of control to fill that small overnight gap, which is up into 435. Then you're looking at the prior day high. Let's see, how much of the CPI move have we retraced? little more than 50%. Volume kind of tapering down again here. So far, there's just an inside day. So after two big expansion days, right, very possible we just have a little bit of a slower sesh today. Definitely within the realm of possibilities. You always see that. You always see that compression following those big expansion moves. So something to keep in mind as well. Thankfully, with the earnings season pretty much kicking off tomorrow, we should see more action. Should start to see more action in NQ and the broader market with earnings. Earnings are here. Got banks kicking off tomorrow, so something to look forward to. So NQ just churning here near the 400 prior day volume point of control. We've got VWAP below now. That 385 area. Just the previous pre-market resistance point. Just below as well. back into VWAP here, back into that structure point. So seller showing up versus that fib sell zone so far. Prior day volume point of control as well. Location is a little tricky here, like we've been talking about. Buyers will be looking for this area to hold. See if they are successful or not. So no real bid there at the 386. And you're looking at session volume point of control. Downside reference point if you're short. Then the 330. Looks like session volume point of control just shifted. Now into 375. Responsive buyers there at volume point of control. And just shy of the underside of 400 there. A lot of barcode, a lot of churn. See if we could see buyers reclaim that 400 level of interest. One hour into the sesh. How's everyone's morning so far? How we doing? Post up in the chat. Let me know. Let me know how that morning is. Green, flat, red. Flat, green, red, green, flat. All right, all right, all right. Small green, okay. Green manual lockout, smart. Green waiting for a good op. Good stuff. Green, nice. NQ retesting the highs there. No new high of day made just yet. Buyers looking for that break of the high. Again, that's your prior day volume point of control right there, right where the highs are. 5-minute just shows pure barcode. Yeah, snoozer. Snoozer. What's our intraday range here? 114 points. Not bad. Not bad, but this type of action all through here. Right. Just don't love to see that early into the sesh. Price still within the prior day's range. So far we just have that inside day. Two big expansion days, right? Now potentially just a compression day, a range bound day. We do have some Fed speak right now, it looks like. Remember, following that expansion, you're always going to see some compression. That's pretty much on every single time frame. Volatility contracts and expands. So does price. Range, trend, range, trend, range, trend. Yeah, location just remains tricky here. Just looking at that hourly chart. Anytime you have price in close proximity to a resistance area where price saw a really significant move, it's a good time to be cautious. Even though we have in the near term a bullish backdrop here, still have this intermediate term range. So all the action up in the kind of upper portion of this range will be challenging for longs and shorts, in my opinion, because near term, again, bullish, but intermediate term, you have that resistance zone, so caution warranted. Now, once price, like I mentioned at the start, before the session even opened, we're just chatting about the structure. Once price actually clears this 500, 530 area, we'll enter a bullish on the intermediate term and bullish on the near term as well. So you'll have a stronger alignment, and the setup will be a bit easier. NQ back into today's range, right? No clean break of the 400, no real market structure there. It's a rejection of the prior day volume point of control, which Remember, that's also, depending on how you want to draw your fib, that's also the fib sell zone, which is the 50 to 61% area, either for the CPI move or the CPI high into today's session low. Doesn't really matter how you draw that, still into the same area. I don't even know if you can see that or read that, but you could draw it on your own chart. CPI high down into CPI low or the session low. Right into that fib sell zone. So ideally we see some sort of setup down near 330 again, if this is just going to be a sideways range day, a true inside day, or a break above the session high with some sort of extension that then offers a retest into the 400 level of interest. Until then, it's very much so a sit on your hands type of market, at least right now. I mean, look at this 5 minute, right? Not very compelling to me, personally. Best action so far today has been versus the 330 level of interest. That's both pre-market, so post-CPI, right? Very nice test there. And then this morning with the spring. This is not as clear, right? It's definitely going to be a little bit more of an advanced entry. You have to be familiar with the spring setup to really nail that. But even if you don't trade the spring, once price actually firmly reclaims the 330 and then gives you the retest, pretty nice entry right through there. A little bit later, but still pretty nice in my opinion. It's not going to be the spring play at that point. It'll be more so like a higher low, like a market structure based trade. But this is why we love levels of interest, because they give you the biggest reaction, typically. Now we align the 330 with the 61% fib from yesterday's trend day move and start to add some confluence for a really nice trade idea. On that tier 1 news, the big prints, watching and trading the pre-market is typically a good idea if you're a futures trader. At the very least, watch. See if you get a setup. Because a lot of the times we'll get all the action during the pre-market session after those bigger news prints, and then there's nothing left for the regular session. Case in point so far today. There's a nice little push. No volume. Decent little push though. Like I said, one of the scenarios I like to see is clear this action and then give us some sort of retest into one of these areas for the continuation move, or some sort of action down here. I'll be looking for longs in 330 or maybe even an undercut of the session low that then reclaims your pre-market low or your 330 area. Anything in between these 2 points, essentially 410 down into like 340, is no man's land. So I'm just not interested there. Here's NQ back near session highs. Let's see if buyers can actually give us the break now. New high of day. Let's see. It's good to see that reaction from session volume point of control. Tells us that most likely that is accumulation, reaccumulation, right? So that's a good sign. There's NQ with a new high of day. No clear break, no acceptance. Per usual, give it another 10-15 minutes here before we wrap it up, call it a morning. I want to see if we get that break of the high, see if that scenario actually pans out here around 11 a.m. Hourly bar looks pretty good. 30-minute is an inside bar. And 15-minute, you have a couple of consecutive inside bars here as well. Is that a new high being made? It's your new high of day on NQ. My arch nemesis, the leaf blowers, are here. I can hear them outside. And again, those fresh highs just showing no acceptance. Get a little blip into the highs. Price just pulls right back into that range. Get this consolidation here on the 5-minute. Look at ES too. Barbed wire right there. Barbed wire. Another example on NQ why you don't want to be a breakout trader in the index. Better off just donating to your favorite charity. NQ back into session volume point of control here. Continuing with the 415 to 375 kind of mid-morning structure. Right through there as we get into 11 a.m. here, about 6 minutes till 11 a.m. See if we get any type of action around 11 a.m. And if not, that'll go ahead and be the cutoff time. Sessions like this really teach you the importance of patience in trading. ES rolling over a bit, coming back near that 58.17 level of interest there. It's pretty surprising to see VIX at a 21 handle here. Wow. So a little structure here continues to hold. A little tight intraday range for NQ. Five-minute just shows us pure barcode, pure sideways, overlapping, barbed wire, whatever you want to call it. Misha's probably scalping on the 5-second chart, I bet. I had to drop down another 1 second. Oh, man. That's wild. Sheesh. NQ bumping into 400 there again. Rejected. Yeah, traders trade. Traders trade. All right, we got 11 a.m. here in 1 minute. Let's see. See if we get anything. Otherwise, that is a wrap on the morning session. And we do have PPI tomorrow morning. Not as big as CPI, but... Do we have MCS tomorrow? Is there an MCS day tomorrow? MCS tomorrow? Okay, so we got banks in the morning. I think it's JPM in the morning. Got PPI. And then MCS, so should be interesting. May have a decent Friday. We should have, if banks are reporting, we should have Netflix coming up here maybe next week. All right, there's 11 a.m. Price just still here, no volume. Well below minimum threshold. I think y'all know what that means. Time to call it a morning. Oh, Netflix next Thursday. A week from today or the following? Usually it follows banks pretty closely. $17th. Okay, a week from today. Nice. Okay, good stuff. Yeah, very slow session. Again, like I said, best action right at 3:30. Post-Cpi. And then right off the open, the spring setup. Worth studying both of those opportunities if you missed them or if you passed on them for one reason or another. Two scenarios I'll keep watching for today: the retest of the 330, like I mentioned, and then potentially a break of the highs with an extension move and then a pullback. Otherwise, just sitting in cash. Just sitting in cash. Hope you guys had a good sesh. We'll be in the Traders Think Tank, keeping it going here. If you have questions, feel free to send me a DM there. Otherwise, we'll see you in the next one. Thanks for your time this morning. Have a good rest of your day.